Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta. And we're once again celebrating the 10 years on YouTube. A huge thank you to all of you guys who have made that possible. For tonight's story, once again, it has to be included. I need to have a lost episode creepypasta for sure. This is not the best lost episode creepypasta, and I will leave that very, very wide topic up for debate. All of you, what exactly was your favorite, or what you believe is the best lost episode creepypasta out there, out of the many, 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 many that there are. But this one's very, I wouldn't say dear to me, as much as I would say special to me. Dead Bart is a video that I posted within my first year on YouTube, and it was the video where I received my very first dislike. And I think that's incredibly significant, because I want to say I was 15 videos in before Dead Bart popped up, and I hadn't gotten dislikes since then. I thought I was doing exceptionally well, but then my first dislike came in, and let me tell you, I guess it... I mean, it's hard to describe today, where I can't count the number of dislikes my videos get, but I guess back then it was enough to make me remember. So, for all of the likes and dislikes that this gets, here is Dead Bart by K.L. Simpson. You know how Fox has a weird way of counting Simpsons episodes? They refuse to count a couple of them. It makes the amount of episodes inconsistent. The reason for this is a lost episode from season 1. See, finding details about this missing episode is difficult. Nobody who's working on the show at the time likes to talk about it. From what's been pieced together, the lost episode was written entirely by Matt Groening. During production of the first season, Matt started to act strangely. He was very quiet. He seemed nervous and morbid. Mentioning this to anyone who was present results in them getting very angry, forbidding you to even mention it to Matt. I first heard of it at an event where David Silverman was speaking. Someone in the crowd asked about the episode, and Silverman simply left the stage, ending the presentation hours early. The episode's production number was 7G06. The title was Dead Bart. The episode labeled 7G06, Moaning Lisa, was made later and given Dead Bart's production code to hide the latter's existence. In addition to getting angry, asking anyone who was on the show about this will cause them to do everything they can to stop you from directly communicating with Matt Groening. At a fan event, I managed to follow him after he spoke to the crowd, and eventually, I had a chance to talk to him alone as he was leaving the building. He didn't seem upset that I followed him. I probably expected a typical encounter with an obsessed fan. When I mentioned the lost episode, though, all color drained from his face. And he started trembling. When I asked him if he could tell me any details, he sounded like he was on the verge of tears. He grabbed a piece of paper, he wrote something on it, and he handed it to me. He begged me never to mention the episode again. The piece of paper had a website address on it. I'd rather not say what it was, for reasons you'll see in a second. I entered the address into my browser. I came to a site that was completely black, except for a line of yellow text. Download link. I clicked on it, and a file started downloading. Once the file was downloaded, my computer went crazy. It was the worst virus I had ever seen. System restore didn't work. The entire computer had to be rebooted. Before doing this, though, I copied the file onto a CD. I tried to open it from my now empty computer, and as I suspected, there was a episode of The Simpsons on it. The episode started off like any other episode, but it had a very poor quality animation. Now, if you've seen the original animation of Some Enchanting Evening, it was similar, less stable. The first act was fairly normal. The way the characters acted was a little off. See, Homer seemed angrier. Marge seemed depressed. Lisa seemed anxious. Bart seemed to have genuine anger and hatred for his parents. The episode was about the Simpsons going on a plane trip. At the end of the first act, the plane was taking off. Bart was fooling around as you would expect. However, as the plane was about 50 feet off the ground, Bart broke a window on the plane and he was sucked out. At the beginning of the series, Matt had an idea that the animated style of the Simpsons world represented life, and that death turned things more realistic. This was used in this episode. The picture of Bart's corpse was barely recognizable. They took full advantage of it not having to move and made an almost photorealistic drawing of his dead body. Act 1 ended on the shot of Bart's corpse. When Act 2 started, Marge, Homer, and Lisa were sitting at their table crying. The crying went on and on. It got more pained and sounded more realistic, better acting than you would think possible. The animation started to decay even more as they cried, and you could hear murmuring in the background. The characters could barely be made out. They were stretching and blurring. They looked like deformed shadows with random bright colors thrown on them. There were faces looking in the window, flashing in and out, so you were never sure what they looked like. The crying went on for all of Act 2. Then Act 3 opened with a title card saying 1 year had passed. Homer, Marge, and Lisa were skeletally thin. They were sitting at the table. There was no sign of Maggie or the pets. They decided to visit Bart's grave. Springfield was completely deserted, and as they walked to the cemetery, the houses became more and more decrepit. They all looked abandoned. When they got to the grave, Bart's body was just lying in front of a tombstone, looking just like it did at the end of Act 1. The family started crying again. Eventually they stopped and just stared at Bart's body. The camera zoomed in on Homer's face, and according to summaries, Homer tells a joke at this part, but it isn't audible in the version I saw. You can't tell what Homer's saying. The view zoomed out as the episode came to a close. The tombstones in the background had the names of every Simpsons guest star on them. Some of them no one had heard of in 1989, some that hadn't been on the show yet. And all of them had death dates on them. For guests who had died since, like Michael Jackson and George Harrison, the dates were when they would die. The credits were completely silent. Seemed handwritten. The final image was the Simpson family on their couch, like on the intros, but all drawn in hyper-realistic styles, lifeless styles. Same like Bart's corpse. A thought occurred to me after seeing the episode for the first time that you could try to use the tombstones to predict the death of living Simpsons guest stars. But there's something odd about most of the ones who haven't died yet. See, all the deaths seem to be listed as the same date. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and we've just started off 2021, hopefully pretty well here. It's been 10 years now since the channel's gotten started, and since then, man, we've kind of done a shit ton. If you'd like to check out more of what I've done, you can always follow me at twitch.tv/MrCreepyPasta to hear me recording live and where I talk kind of at length about myself and my life. And I want to give a very special thank you to all of you who support me on Patreon, because quite honestly, you guys help me keep the lights on in my house, and I can't thank you enough for that. A very special thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Canon Lando Higuchi, Chompski, Bobby Karman, Nico Kaeo, Tristain Pelton, Chase Burnett, Deanna Kraus, G Weevil 3, Chris Lovin, Freddie Krueger, Dr. Stein and Mr. Happy, Miranda Jeffries, Hugungshi, Justin Johnson, Raven Hart, Unknown Nobody, Michael Scharbrough, Kazan, ThisIsMyRealNameNoShit, Jason VB Wilson, InfernalOne, JimboTheHutt, Caspian, Jordan Nells, Hades' Nephew, Jordan Wayne Deckard, Acid System, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Cryptic Nightmares, Someone You Love, S-Man, Kiri the Sloth, Liam Newman, Sky Harbor, Caleb Dougal, Nina Smith, Raphael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, and Corey Kenshin. Thank you guys so much. Like, seriously, thank you guys so much. And if you would like to be able to join them, you always can at patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. I love you guys, seriously. All of you who support on Patreon, who follow, who subscribe, those of you who listen, and those of you who lurk. Thank you for the amazing 10 years. And sweet dreams.